What a beautiful sound. Thank you to the University of Michigan Commencement Band for playing for the graduates as they find their seats. It is now time to enjoy another group of talented students. Next up, please welcome Maze Mirchi a cappella. Maze Mirchi is the University of Michigan's premier fusion a cappella group, performing on and off campus, as well as competing in Dallas, Chicago, New York, and all across the nation. They are a group that operates by the motto, South Asian inspired, but never required. Take it away, Maze Mirchi.
I pay you at all. Was I supposed to wait by the phone when you call alone, coquette for a call? And he won't go easily, that ain't the last, 'cause he's dining, vengeance still close. I'll make sure I smile before I prosper. Why can't love move faster? And I'm a song away from forever. I'll manifest the way I'll be better next lifetime. And when you hurt it, was I vindicated? Word on the street, they'll be naked, yeah. And when you saw it, was I illuminated? You left me on my knees, heartbreaking, and you left me little, but I did my time. If you can't hope on, you'd have stayed away. I won't bleed for your love. I won't bleed. I won't bleed for your love. I won't bleed for your love. I won't bleed. I won't bleed for your love. I won't bleed. I won't bleed for your love. I won't bleed. I won't bleed for your love. I won't bleed. I won't bleed for your love. I won't bleed. I won't bleed. I'll make sure I smile. Whoa, yeah. Can't love move faster, and I'm a song away from forever. I'll manifest the way I'll be better next lifetime.
One, two, you know what to do. Hail to the victors, Zion, hail to the conquering heroes, hail, hail to Michigan, the leaders and best. Hail to the victors, Zion, hail to the conquering heroes, hail, hail to Michigan, the champions of the West. Go Blue!
Thank you, Maze Mirchi. That was amazing. I'm in SMTD, but I don't know if I could do that. Let's give them another round of applause. And now I'll pass things back to the University Commencement Band as we watch the rest of the graduates process. All right, so it looks like all of our graduates are seated and the ceremony is about to begin shortly. I'd like to give one more big thank you to all of the amazing acts that performed today. It's always an honor to share the stage with such talented peers. Congratulations again to all of the 2023 graduates. Enjoy the ceremony and go Blue!
Hello, everyone. I'm Kelly Rodriguez Diaz from San Juan, Puerto Rico, and I'm a political science major in the College of Literature, Science, and the Arts, and the vice president of the University of Michigan Women's Glee Club, which was founded in 1893. We are a sisterhood of mostly non-music majors who care passionately about choral music and community. Along with members of the Men's Glee Club, we are delighted to share our love of music with you.
Good afternoon. My name is Kyle Kuhn, and I'm a computer science and film, television, and media double major from Spring Lake, Michigan. I'm also the proud vice president of our 164-year-old Men's Glee Club. We join the choir for its musical excellence, and we become a community of brothers and lifelong friends. On behalf of the graduates, we welcome you to winter commencement. At this time, please rise if you are able for the singing of the national anthem.
Good afternoon, University of Michigan. I'm Lori McCauley, Provost and Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs. I'm delighted to welcome you all to today's commencement ceremony. Please join me in thanking the Women's and Men's Glee Clubs for their lovely rendition of the Star Spangled Banner. As we begin, I want to recognize an important part of our history, a land transfer from the indigenous people of this area. The University of Michigan is located on the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe people. In 1817, the Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi nations made the largest single land transfer to the University of Michigan. This was offered ceremonially through the treaty at the foot of the rapids so that their children could be educated. Through these words of acknowledgement, their contemporary and ancestral ties to the land and their contributions to the university are renewed and reaffirmed. Graduates, you are here today to do many things, to reflect on how much you've learned about the world and yourself in your time here. We are here because ceremony and tradition reinforce our values and invest our lives with meaning. But most importantly, and we cannot lose sight of this fact, we are here to celebrate. Facing the world's challenges is hard work, almost as hard as learning who you are and who you want to become. And today, we will consider both of those endeavors as you prepare to leap from the summit of your achievements here into the dizzying prospects beyond. But before we do, let's take a moment to enjoy the view. This broad, beautiful expanse of blue represents the scale of your collective accomplishments. It's also an apt metaphor for the limitless blue sky before you. But the sky is not your limit. Savor the joy and the pride in your accomplishments. And as you do, know that the name of this ceremony, commencement, speaks not to what you've already done, but the boundless potential of what you have yet to achieve. Let us pause and pay tribute to those here who carried you when the path became rocky or shrouded in uncertainty. To the parents, family, mentors, and teachers, with your support, you have helped create this moment of unforgettable triumph in the memories of your students and friends. Thank you. Graduates, wherever your next adventure takes you, I hope that when you see a vast stretch of blue, you spare a thought for your alma mater and remember, you are forever welcome here. Congratulations, graduates. The authority to grant degrees is vested in the Board of Regents of the University of Michigan, and it is with pleasure that we recognize those members of the board who are with us today. Michael Beam, Grand Blanc. And Sarah Hubbard, Okemos. The other members of the platform party include the executive officers of the university and the deans of our schools and colleges. They will be identified on the arena screens during the course of our program today. It is now my pleasure to introduce Gasa Nasir, who many of us know as Gigi. Gigi is from Dearborn Heights, Michigan, and is receiving her Bachelor of Science degree from the College of Engineering. Civil engineering and construction are her passions. Along with her studies, she completed 2 internships with construction firms, working on roadway and bridge projects and ensuring safety and quality control. She was also responsible for aesthetics on Michigan's concrete canoe team. Please welcome Gigi Nasser.
Thank you, Provost McCulley. Standing up here, I look around and I see a community I call my home. I ask my fellow graduates to do the same. Look around you. Acknowledge your fellow graduates. We should all recognize that we've collectively taken various paths to get a special point in our lives. We've finally done it. We're graduating together. As a daughter of Arab immigrant parents, not only have I inherited the Middle Eastern strong will, sometimes known as stubbornness, love you, Mama and Baba, Shafaq and Alpha, thank you for everything you do. But I've also inherited this strong desire to be part of a community. The University of Michigan is just that, my home, my community. We've all migrated from places to get here, whether it was down the street because he grew up in Ann Arbor, or crossing the Atlantic Ocean like myself. Nonetheless, the university welcomed us with open arms, and as cheesy it may sound, together we are Wolverines. We are strong, determined, and will look out for each other. I came to Michigan as a transfer student my junior year. I was scared I'd feel so out of place, that I would struggle to fit in. I was terrified everyone around me had already established their friend groups. That was way too late. Somehow, I managed to make my first friend, Cindy Beaton. She convinced me to join the project team, the Concord Canoe team. Who would have thought a project team where we make functional canoes out of concrete would be the place I'd find my community? My home became an odd corner on North Campus where we'd spend endless hours mixing concrete and frantically paddling away from the swans in the Huron River. I served as aesthetics lead on the team, which meant the appearance of the canoe fell to me and my group. Even when we stressed over when to fabricate the canoe, we still had each other. As a child reading storybooks, you're told that home is where you feel loved as your true self. The Concord Canoe team and the Civil and Environmental Department is where, for the first time, I felt truly at home. It's where I met Xanthi Thomas and Julia Pyle, among many others who not only made me feel loved, but called me out when I was wrong. Michigan is a safe space, even during finals week where orange chicken from Panda Express keeps us from falling apart. We, my fellow graduates and alumni, always have each other. To the University of Michigan and the College of Engineering, thank you for being my home. I'm delighted to introduce Tom Braun, Chair of the Senate Advisory Committee on the University Affairs. Thank you, Dr. Braun, for your service.
Take that? Oh, no, you're good. Thank you, Gigi. I'm delighted to be joining you and everyone on stage today. On behalf of my nearly 7,000 University Senate colleagues, I offer all of you congratulations. And I also offer you a thank you. Thank you for the privilege of being able to share with you our knowledge and our life experiences. I've been a professor for nearly 25 years, but only recently have I considered that choosing to learn is a very vulnerable act. Learning opportunities come at us every day and in unexpected places. And to learn something, to learn anything, is to change who we were before. So imagine if every day, all of us were willing to be just a bit vulnerable and just a bit willing to change. What would that look like? But let's pause on that idea for a moment. This past semester, I attended a presentation by Dr. Dolly Chug, and in her talk, she expressed the unusual idea of being an unlearner, being someone who was willing to see what was previously learned perhaps no longer fits in the current world or needs to be envisioned differently. I teach statistics, specifically in public health. The idea of a normal distribution, or the so-called bell curve, is foundational in our work. But I've had to unlearn its hallowed existence by balancing it with its complicated intersection with eugenics, white normativity, and societal inequality. But unlearning doesn't mean throwing out ideas completely. Unlearning is larger than that. It intends that we do not hold our learning as absolute, but rather as fluid and open to adjustment and recalibration. Which leads me to Dr. Chug's second idea, which is a paradox mindset, being able to accept two distinctly contradictory ideas as having validity at the same time. I get it. It's so frustrating when someone we reach out to doesn't take our side or fails to agree with our approach. That is because there are so few absolutes in human thought. Paradoxes surround us everywhere. So, also imagine a world in which we allow ourselves to regularly agree to disagree. What would that look like? So, to all of you, there's your mission. Go forth, live your life, and learn or unlearn all that you can. But remember that everyone else will be doing the same thing, and they probably will approach it in ways that conflict with your own. You're both right, and you're both wrong. That is the reality of our world. So please do all you can to manage each other with courage, respect, and humility. Our world depends upon it. So congratulations on getting to today, and I wish you the best of luck to all of the amazing things that come to you tomorrow. Thank you. I'm now delighted to introduce Lucas Felby from Sao Paulo, Brazil. Lucas is double majoring in computer science and political science at the College of Literature, Science, and the Arts. While pursuing his 2 degrees, he also completed internships at Amazon, Meta, and Google. At Google, he developed new assistive writing features for Google Docs, and as an extracurricular activity, Lucas created an educational YouTube channel for Brazilian students that has more than 500,000 subscribers.
Thank you, Professor Braun, for your kind introduction. There are a few things nobody will tell you about being an international student. The final hug at the airport, the whispered, "I love you," your mom will kiss in your ear, the tears on the plane, or how my parents feel when they find out I'm giving this commencement speech, which I realized I forgot to tell them. Sorry, Mom and Dad. I arrived here from Brazil with a broken heart filled with dreams. I traveled 5,125 miles from São Paulo to Ann Arbor to the University of Michigan, this prestigious university, to create change in the rapidly evolving fields of technology and politics. Well, after countless hours in the Idea Hub, Ugly, the Big House, and Rick's, I can honestly say I achieved much more. I learned how to leave a home, find a new one, and call them both mine. As vividly as I recall the sound of my childhood front door closing behind me, I remember the first time someone held the door open for me at Michigan. The first time I could understand a lecture without subtitles. The first time I felt the embrace of true friendship on a wintry Saturday night. The first time I could openly talk about my queerness to my peers. For most of us, home isn't just a place. It's a combination of feelings, scents, and names who often live very far apart. On this campus, we found people who make us feel loved, safe, inspired, impressed, and humbled. We learned the beauty in finding community and staying faithful to who we are. We learned that to be different is to be special. It is to be a leader and best. Today, as I stand before you, I am overwhelmed with gratitude. My grandfather, who passed away 2 years ago, couldn't afford to go to college. He was a bus driver in Argentina and a firm believer in the power of education. He paved the way for my father to earn our family's first degree and for me to stand before you today, about to receive 2 Bachelor of Science degrees. Every one of us stood against our own odds to be here today. We won't take this opportunity for granted. As we depart the university, don't hold anything back. Remember the final hugs, the whispered I love yous. Cry, sing, kiss, dance. Be proud of yourself and hold on as long as you can to the person you have become here. There is a word in Portuguese, saudade, which roughly translates to the feeling of absence, saudade. Only when we are caught in Saudades' grip do we understand what is home to us, that which makes us who we are. Congratulations, class of 2023. May we leave here today and become itinerants, transforming the world around us. Thank you. And now, I'm honored to introduce the 15th president of the University of Michigan, Santa J. Ono.
Good afternoon. Congratulations, graduates. You have made it. You are finally through. How's it feel? After the endless hours of study, the presentations, the papers, and the projects, and the exams, your persistence, your excellence is now crowned with success. We are so proud of you. And not only you, but your families, your friends, your loved ones too. They've offered you their unconditional love and support every step of the way, and they are here with you again today. So to the families, to the parents, the grandparents, and the partners, the siblings, and friends, thank you. Thank you for sharing your graduates with us. They are an incredible class. We are so grateful for the time that we've shared together at the University of Michigan. Graduates, please join me in thanking your families and friends for everything that they've done for you. Let's give them a round of applause. Graduates, today was the final time that you have strode into the Chrysler Center as students. When you leave, you will do so as alumni. You will depart having earned your degrees at one of the world's most exceptional and influential universities. You will have earned them not only through ability and excellence, but through adaptability, resilience, and persistence. Over the past years, you have been tested and tried, forged and formed. You have engaged in an education steeped in tradition and shaped by excellence, and you have been challenged by the exceptional members of our faculty to become leaders and best. You have also been tested in unexpected ways, from the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic to the campus controversies of today. But at each step, you've not only endured, you have overcome. You have achieved with integrity and excellence. We are so proud of you today. But we are also confident of your future success. I'm sure for many of you, the unspoken question of the day is, what happens next? I would counsel, as our 3 honorary degree recipients have so well done, to seek beauty, to create connection, and to find meaning in a difficult world. Take, for example, poet Robert Hass, a Pulitzer Prize-winning and former poet laureate of the United States. He teaches us to see the world with an artist's eye, to see the beauty and the glory and the extraordinary, as well as the ordinary. Through him, we perceive the simple, sublime beauty of the apple trees at Olema in the morning in early April. Or how about astrophysicist Thomas Zurbuchen, Dr. Z, as he was known, as a professor here in the College of Engineering. He is now a professor and the director of space activities at ETH. And he was NASA's longest-serving chief scientist, as well as a former professor, as I said, of space science and engineering at our very own College of Engineering, and founding director of our renowned Center for Entrepreneurship. Through the 37 missions that NASA launched under his leadership, and the 54 more that were initiated during his tenure, Dr. Z has shown us the beauty of exploration, the thrill of discovery, and the exquisite mystery of the unknown. Just one of those, the James Webb Space Telescope, has forever changed our view of the cosmos, illuminating the darkness, revealing the mystery and the beauty of the stars. Yet exploration and discovery are as much efforts of individuality as they are of community. The building of the James Webb Space Telescope engaged some 1,200 scientists, engineers, and technicians from 14 different nations and more than 27 states. Connections are as essential to creating new science as they are to weaving the fabric of our lives. The work of Robert Haas celebrates the importance of connection, of relationship and community in all the challenges and joys of our days. He also emphasizes our deep connection to the natural world and our environment, whether through his collections like Sun Under Wood or poems of being on the coast near Sausalito and the beginning of September. And how about our commencement speaker, David Brooks? He has thought deeply and written extensively on the essential value of the connection and community. As he observed in his book, The Second Mountain, quote, "Life is not a solitary journey. It is a building a home together. It is a process of being formed by attachments and then forming attachments in turn. It is a great chain of generations passing down gifts one to another. It is through these connections, through our values and our service, that we individually and collectively find meaning. Meaning outshines fame, it outlasts achievement, it outdistances bliss. For meaning is not who we are in a moment, but rather who we can be, who we aspire to be for a lifetime and beyond. That's truly what I hope you will discover in your days ahead. Yes, a life of success and achievement, but foremost, my wish for you is that you have a life of meaning. In his most recent book, How to Know a Person, David Brooks declared, quote, "The greatest thing a person does is to take the lessons of life, the hard knocks of life, and the mundane realities of life and refine their own consciousness so that they can gradually come to see the world with more understanding, more wisdom, more humanity, and more grace. So seek beauty, create connection, and above all, graduates, find meaning in your lives, individually and together. When these you achieve, you will truly be Wolverines, and you will have built a life that exceeds your dreams of today. Congratulations again, graduates, and always and forever, go blue." By the authority of the state of Michigan, vested in the Board of Regents, we shall now confer degrees honoris causa, which have been recommended by the faculties and authorized by the regents of the university. These are the highest honors that we confer as an educational institution. Members of the Board of Regents will present the honorary degree recipients. Regent Sarah Hubbard.
Mr. President, I have the honor to present David Brooks to receive an honorary degree. David Brooks, for decades, you've been a voice that honestly and sincerely contributes to the public discourse. You have the courage to speak the truth as you see it. In doing so, you move our national debate forward and contribute to the trust building you have so rightly called on all of us to do. In recognition of your thought leadership, on behalf of the citizens of the United States, the University of Michigan is pleased to present you with this honorary degree, Doctor of Laws.
By the authority of the state of Michigan, vested in the Board of Regents and then delegated to me, I now confer upon you, David Brooks, the degree of Doctor of Laws and admit you to all the rights, honors, and privileges. Congratulations. Regent Michael Beam.
Mr. President, I have the honor to present Robert Hass to receive an honorary degree. Dr. Hass, you are a poet of the highest order, expressing in your distinctly powerful way the joy and heartbreak of being human. As a steadfast advocate for literacy, environmental awareness, and social equality, you are further enriching the lives of your fellow Americans. In admiration of the beauty, curiosity, and empathy you bring to our world through your poetry and passions, the University of Michigan is proud to present you with an honorary degree, Doctor of Fine Arts.
By the authority of the state of Michigan, vested in the Board of Regents, and by then delegated to me, I now confer upon you, Robert Hass, the degree Doctor of Fine Arts, and admit you to all its rights, honors, and privileges. Congratulations.
I need to thank the Board of Regents and President Ono for this extraordinary honor. It is special to me because my daughter graduated from the university and teaches here, and because 3 of my grandchildren, Finn, Cole, and Hazel, who are here today, also graduated from this university. So I know something about the hard work you graduates have done in order to be here. Hard work and imagination, because in order to be here, you had to imagine that you could be. And that's why you look to us today like hope. Radical hope. Though you may not have experienced it that way, you've been engaged in these 4 or so years in a rebellion against hopelessness, against cynicism, and against the mindless violence of the world. You did it by learning to think and to solve problems, to engage each other intensely and kindly, and by acquiring skills. It's an amazing thing you've done. We all of us hope you make the best of it. Congratulations, good luck, and go Blue.
Regent Sarah Hubbard.
Mr. President, I have the honor to present Thomas Zurbuchen to receive an honorary degree. Dr. Zurbuchen, through your research and leadership, you have expanded our understanding of the universe, enabling so many achievements, our ability to serve the first stars. You have advanced the fields of astronomy and cosmology, broadened the ranks of scientists and explorers, and served as an exemplary role model for students who are first in their families to graduate from college. For your unwavering commitment to pushing the bounds of human understanding for the betterment of all humanity, the University of Michigan presents you with this honorary degree, Doctor of Science. Congratulations.
If you permit me, Dr. Z, by the authority of the state of Michigan vested in me by the Board of Regents and then delegated to me, I now confer upon you, Tamar Surbukin, the degree Doctor of Science and admit you to all its rights, honors, and privileges. Congratulations.
I extend my heartfelt gratitude to the Board of Regents, President Ono, and his leadership team for the honor bestowed upon me today. It is with deep emotion that I forge an enduring connection with the University of Michigan, an institution that for over 2 centuries has opened pathways of uncommon educations for common individuals just like me. As part of my job at NASA, I have attended well over 30 space launches. In one moment, a rocket lifts from its pad and defies gravity, slowly rising into the sky. What has always struck me is the difficulty in discerning the rocket's destination merely by observing its initial trajectory. Is it a mission looking back at the Earth, venturing to Mars, or some other exciting destination? The trajectory of a rocket is not solely determined by the visible first stage at launch, but predominantly by the unseen upper stages yet to unfold. Congratulations on the successful liftoff today. You, along with your family and friends, should revel in this remarkable achievement. And I extend my sincerest wishes for future endeavors as you employ the curiosity and innovative spirit fostered at Michigan to unlock the subsequent stages of your career. May your journey be rich with purpose, leading to destinations that will undoubtedly surprise and accelerate you. You can't even believe what has become possible with today's launch. And never forget, career success is not a solitary conquest. Your family, friends, and University of Michigan community will be here to help you along the way. Congratulations, graduates, and go Blue.
And strength it grew, nourished by a dream. The University of Michigan, the people said be free to teach, to serve, to probe the unknown. Our university.
She looks beyond today's pale light. She seeks in fields diverse. New knowledge found within her halls has changed the universe.
The University of Michigan, the people said be free to teach, to serve, to probe the where science, where truths revealed to those whose minds would see. The University of Michigan, the people set be free to teach, to serve, to probe the unknown. Our university.
Greetings, fellow Wolverines, cherished family, esteemed friends. My name is Florence Johnson, and I am a doctoral candidate at the School of Nursing. Today, as we stand bathed in the proud maize and blue, it is a privilege to address you. As a young person, you might have heard this, but I am here to be your proof. You are never too old to realize your dreams. My mother's family, who came to this country from Nigeria, valued education. She and her siblings had master's degrees. One brother had a PhD in engineering. As a first-generation American, I was told at a very young age that I would become a pediatrician. Then my mother had a near-death auto accident. I was a young teen and alarmed by the medical care she received. At that moment, I realized nurses were the ones who had the ability to change the quality of my mother's care that she received. Thank you, nurses. I vowed to become a nurse and that no patient of mine would suffer as my mother had. I would assure families that their loved ones were safe in my care. Since beginning my nursing career, I dreamt of earning my PhD. Why? I wanted to advance nursing research and quality of nursing care on the broadest possible scale, particularly for patients from underrepresented groups. How did I get here? Michigan's School of Nursing recruited students yearly at the National Black Nurses Conference. For 4 years, I attended their informational sessions, but each time concern took over. I'm from Connecticut and would tell myself, I can't leave my family. This was an excuse. My kids were grown up with their own family. Finally, I summoned my courage and emailed Patricia Coleman Burns. She responded right away. Our first phone call lasted 45 minutes. There was an immediate connection. She connected me with Drs. Robinson Lane, who would become my chair and mentor, and also Dr. Rishika Patel. After a visit to campus that left me feeling welcome and wanted, I applied and began my studies in the fall of 2020. Being away from my family was more challenging than I expected. I missed my grandchildren, and I missed my grown children. They were having challenges also. This was in 2020, and I couldn't go home to visit because of COVID. This stress worsened when my sister in California passed away as I was presenting my research proposal. Along the way, I experienced other challenges, and I thought I could just work through them. Once I gave myself permission to be vulnerable enough to ask for help, it was easy. My mentoring team, Dr. Patel and even the dean rallied around me. They surrounded me with passion and preached self-care. With the support of my village, I persevered and finished my program in time, which was in 3 years. Thank you, Whitney, Andrew, Christopher, Sydney, Stephen, Amaya, Cameron, Mason, AJ, and a special thank you to Ainsley. They are the wind beneath my wings. All this to say, find your North Star and pursue it. There may be hurdles, big hurdles. Surround yourself with individuals who comprehend your journey and are willing to walk alongside of you. When you need it, ask for help. That's very important. Remember, your purpose is yours to determine. Let no one else dictate it for you. Be true to yourself. You have everything it takes to realize your dreams. Go Blue. Now it is my honor to introduce David Brooks, our commencement speaker. Mr. Brooks is a public intellectual, columnist for the New York Times, Atlantic Magazine contributor, and PBS NewsHour commentator. He observes and interprets the culture, political, economic, and moral lives of world leaders and everyday citizens. Mr. Brooks has written 11 books. His newest, released in October, is How to Know a Person, the Art of Seeing Others Deeply and Being Seen Deeply. Please help me welcome to the University of Michigan, Mr. Brooks.
I'm taking this off, I'm getting strangled. Now you can see my hairline. Well, University of Michigan class of 2023, it's an honor and a pleasure to be with you. I come here on a mission. Over the years, I've observed that no group of alumni in America are as fervently in love with their school as are the alumni of the University of Michigan. You will spend the next 60 years wearing Michigan scarves, Michigan hats, Michigan license plates, boring your friends about University of Michigan. You're not graduating from a university, you're joining a cult. Second, I've come to be present at this moment for you guys, a momentous transition in your lives. You've spent most of your lives so far as students. You've had to spend your years trying to please grumpy teachers, doing pointless assignments, and your top obsession each year is whether Michigan beats Ohio State. Now you enter the real world, which is totally different. From now on, you will spend your years trying to please grumpy bosses, doing pointless assignments, and your top obsession each year is whether Michigan beats Ohio State. You know this day is real because you are hungover, your parents are proud, your professors are shocked, and I'm in awe. Over the course of your years at Michigan, you've learned many new things. You've learned to dominate classroom discussion while doing none of the reading. You've learned to spend as much as 15 seconds slaving over a term paper with ChatGPT. You learned the skill of staring at me right now with what looks like expressions of rapt attention, even though you are in fact completely asleep. Whenever I'm honored to give addresses to graduating classes, I try to pass along a few pieces of valuable information. First, this may be your first graduation. And so you should know that when you get your degree, it's customary to tip President Ono just to show him he did a good job. 10 or 20 bucks should be fine. For the commencement speaker, something in the low four figures. Higher for Ross graduates. The other ritual of these exercises is that the school picks a person who has some career success to give a speech saying career success doesn't really matter. Several years ago, it was the fashion for people like Steve Jobs and J.K. Rowling to give addresses on how much you can learn from failure. From this, you learn that failure is wonderful if you happen to be Steve Jobs and J.K. Rowling. My advice is don't fail. Today, as I look over at your cheerful faces, I can't help but to think back to my own years in college. When I was 18, the admissions officers at Columbia, Wesleyan, and Brown decided I should go to the University of Chicago. I got a great education there while pursuing a double major in history and celibacy. I'd like to pass along the life-altering advice of my own commencement speaker, but unfortunately I can't because I don't remember a thing that guy said. You, on the other hand, are at a gorgeous moment in your lives. You're wiser than the freshmen, you're sexier than the faculty. In fact, you're a lot sexier than the faculty. Plus, you have long, exciting years ahead of you. Think of where you will be in 60 years. Donald Trump and Joe Biden will still be running for president. The Rolling Stones will still be on tour. Billie Eilish will still be unhappy. Taylor Swift will have moved on from football players and will be dating the Supreme Court. You have two incredible paths before you. One leads to a soulless job as a cog in a corporate machine. The other leads to permanent residence in your parents' basement. I'm here to help you explore these exciting possibilities. The usual cliches of this sort of address are pretty familiar. Follow your passion, take risks, listen to your inner voice, be true to yourself, your future is limitless. First, my generation leaves you with a mountain of debt, and then we give you a bunch of career derailing advice that will prevent you from ever paying it off. I'm going to start with some practical advice, which I got from either the Bible or Reddit. This is grade A practical advice. The thing that made you weird as a kid is going to make you wonderful as an adult. Ignores what others might think about you because they are not thinking about you. When you're in your 20s, say yes to everything because you never know where something will lead. When you're 90% done a big project, finishing the rest of the details will take another 90%. Just because it's not your fault doesn't mean it's not your responsibility. Finally, pick 10 of your closest college friends or graduate school friends and form a giving circle. Put some money in a pot and every year get together to figure out how to give the money away. The charity of this part will be nice, but the real reason to do it is to have 10 friends from Michigan you can carry with you for the rest of your lives. That will matter. These are useful life hacks that can make you more effective as a human being, but I'm here today mostly to talk about your larger destiny. Every generation faces a central challenge, a historical summons which they are called to solve and address. We boomers generously left your generation a whole bunch of problems to solve. You can thank us later. The biggest challenge your generation faces, I believe, is the breakdown of the morals and social fabric of our society. As a society, we've grown steadily sadder and meaner over the past few years. Rising depression, mental health problems, rising suicide rates, the foreboding statistics go on and on. The number of Americans who say they have no close friends has risen 4 times since 2000. The amount of time Americans spend with their friends has dropped 60% over that time. The share of Americans without a romantic partner is up by 1/3. The sadness of America leads to the meanness of America. When people feel unseen, invisible, unrecognized, they regard it as an injustice, which it is, and so they lash out. People who feel invisible come to dislike the world and they want revenge. You get rising hate crimes, gun violence, mass shooters, racism. Social trust is at rock bottom. It used to be that 2/3 of Americans gave to charity. Now fewer than half do. The growing meanness of public life shows up in our politics, in the brutal rhetoric, the way people organize their thinking into crude categories. Real Americans versus elites, oppressors versus oppressed, colonizers versus the colonized. The crude categories are dehumanizing because they cover over the complex realities of actual people. A few months ago, I was doom scrolling through social media, looking at the brutal confrontations on campuses and the horrific images from the Middle East. Suddenly, I came across a short video of an interview the great writer James Baldwin must have given sometime in the 1960s. He said, "The world is held together by the love of relatively few people. There is not as much humanity in the world as one would like to see, but there is more than one would think. There is enough." Then he continued, "Walk down the street of any city, any afternoon, and look around you. What you've got to remember is what you're looking at is also you. Everyone you're looking at is also you. You could be that person." Here, amid the Twitter flow of dehumanization, was the image of a man who was a defiant humanist. Here was a person emphasizing our common humanity, who has committed himself amidst a lot of hatred that he must have encountered through the course of his life, and bigotry, to see others in all their mystery and complexity, to see the world from another's point of view. It seems to me the times are calling on your generation to offer that kind of defiant humanism. In the midst of war and conflicts, foreign and domestic, it seems to me that we're called not to be calloused over and brutal, but to see each other generously and to try to treat each other with consideration and respect. Human beings need recognition as much as they need food and water. If you're going to be a decent person in brutalizing times, you have to resolve to give the gift of attention. It is to say to the people around you, "I will try to see you in all your complexity. I will try to understand you. I will try to see the world even just a little from your point of view." The first gift you can offer is the gift of focus. If you're talking to someone, make your attention an on-off switch, not a dimmer. Give them 100% of your attention. Don't try to 60% it. The second gift is the gift of empathy. That's seeing what the other person needs in any situation and not what you need. Rabbi Elliot Kukla once told the story of a woman who had suffered a brain injury and sometimes fell to the ground. And people would rush to immediately get her back on her feet. She told Kukla, "I think people rush to help me up because they're so uncomfortable with seeing an adult lying on the floor. But what I really need at that moment is for somebody to get down on the floor with me." And so there are times when we just have to get down on the floor with another human being, literally or metaphorically. The third gift is the gift of presence. Sometimes you just need to show up for people. A few years ago, I read about a professor named Nancy Abernathy, who was teaching a seminar when her husband died suddenly of a heart attack while cross-country skiing. With some difficulty, she managed to get through the semester and carry on with her teaching. One day, she mentioned to her class that she was dreading teaching the same course the next year because during the first meeting, she asked everybody to bring in the family photos so they can get to know one another. She wasn't sure she could bring in photos of her late husband without weeping. Summer came and went, and the fall arrived, and the day of the dreaded class. Abernathy entered the lecture hall filled with trepidation, and then realized something. The classroom was too crowded. Sitting there, along with her current class, were the students from the previous year's class. They had come simply to lend their presence during a hard time. They knew exactly what she needed, and they didn't need to offer more. This is compassion, Abernathy later reported, a simple human connection between one who suffers and one who would heal. The fourth gift is the gift of curiosity. I've come to think that the act of asking people questions is a moral act. You're adopting a posture of humility. You're showing respect, honoring the person. I want to see you. I want to know you a little. Sometimes I leave a party and I think, that whole time nobody asked me a question. I've come to believe only about 30 or 40% of the humans are question askers. So I advise you to be part of that 30 or 40%. The fifth gift is the gift of conversations. Most of us are not good at the art of conversation as we think we are. A good conversation is not two people making statements at each other. That's a bad conversation. A good conversation exists on two levels. There's the subject we're nominally talking about, and that there's the emotional flow underneath us. With every comment I make, I'm either making you feel safer or less safe, more respected or less. For example, some people ruin a conversation by becoming what they call a topper. If you say to me, I had a horrible flight, we waited on the tarmac for 2 hours, my instinct is to say, I know exactly what you went through. I had a horrible flight. I waited on the tarmac for 4 hours. It sounds like I'm trying to relate to you, but what I'm really doing is saying, let's stop talking about you and let's talk about me and my superior experiences. Don't be a topper. The sixth gift is the gift of vulnerability, the ability to reveal vulnerability in friendship at an appropriate pace. The novelist Frederick Buechner once wrote, "It's important to tell, at least from time to time, the secret of who you fully and truly are, because otherwise we run the risk of losing track of who we fully and truly are and come to accept the highly edited version that we put forth in the hope the world will find it more acceptable. It's important to tell our secrets because it makes it easier for other people to tell their secrets too." Finally, the seventh gift is the gift of wisdom. My view of wisdom has changed over the years. I used to think a wise person is a lofty sage who doles out maxims like Yoda or Dumbledore. The wise person knows how to solve problems, give you good advice. Now I sort of take the opposite view. The wise person and the wise people in our lives don't tell us what to do. They just start by witnessing our story. They see us in a noble struggle. They take in your story and they accept it and push you to clarify it. What is it you really want? What baggage have you left out of your clean tail? Wise people don't tell you what to do. They create a hospitable atmosphere in which people are encouraged to set aside fear and realize what they need to achieve and who they really are. You may remember a scene in the movie Good Will Hunting where the therapist, played by Robin Williams, pulls aside the math whiz, played by Matt Damon. And he tells him, "You're a tough kid. I ask you about war, you'll probably throw Shakespeare at me, right? Once more into the breach, dear friends. But you've never been near one. You've never held your best friend's head in your lap and watched him gasp his last breath. I ask you about love, you probably quote me a sonnet. But you've never looked at a woman and been totally vulnerable. I look at you, I don't see an intelligent, confident man. I see a cocky, scared kid. I can't learn anything from you that I can't read in some book. Unless you want to talk about you, who you are, then I'd be fascinated. I'm in. But you don't want to do that, do you, sport? You're terrified of what you might say." Now that speech, which I've not read as well as Robin Williams did, flows from great listening. The Robin Williams character has heard the one thing the Matt Damon character is desperate to hide, that he's terrified of life. The therapist lays that on the table and says, "I see you, it's going to be okay." Furthermore, the therapist is offering a critique with care. He's saying there are two kinds of knowledge. There's the kind you get from books, which is the kind that he has, the Matt Damon character. And then there's the kind you get from life, from being vulnerable to life to being adventurous in life. The Robin Williams character is saying, that's the kind of knowledge you need, the kind available only to those who are truly open themselves emotionally and spiritually to all that life has to offer. University of Michigan class of 2023, I imagine you've absorbed a lot of book learning while you're here in Ann Arbor. I don't denigrate it. I've spent my life trying to cram information into books. But now comes time for the sort of personal knowledge that is only won by brave living. With all the problems the world faces, you may be wondering why I focus things that are so intimate and so small, paying attention to someone, asking a few questions. I did it because the touchstone of being a moral person is being a genius at the close at hand. It's the act of being considerate to the people in complex circumstances of life. Now you may wonder if I'm being naive. telling you to be open and vulnerable in such a sad and mean environment. If I'm vulnerable, won't I be betrayed? Yes, you most assuredly will, from time to time. But I assure you that acting in this way I recommend is hard and practical. It's best to lead with trust. It's best to lead with curiosity. It's not naive to lead with respect. It's practical to be able to understand the people around you, to make them feel respected and lit up. The essayist David Whyte once wrote that the ultimate touchstone of friendship, he wrote, is not improvement, neither of the other or the self. Rather, he wrote, the ultimate touchstone of friendship is witness, the privilege of having been seen by someone else, and the equal privilege of being granted the sight of the essence of another. To have walked with them, to have believed in them, sometimes just to have accompanied them for however brief a time, on a journey impossible to accomplish alone. You've learned a lot here at the University of Michigan. I hope you've learned most of all to keep your friends close. Go Blue.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for David Brooks one more time. Thank you so much for your 7 gifts, especially the last one of wisdom. Much appreciated. And in listening to your remarks about forever wondering who's going to win, Michigan or Ohio State, I remember when I was actually moving to the University of Michigan, a friend of mine from Ohio, I won't name the person, a very prominent individual in Ohio, said, you know, that's what's going to happen every year, and you may not win that often. Well, you know, I actually called him up just the other day and I said, remember that conversation? Can you say three-peat? Now, are you ready? The moment has come to recognize you and your degrees. Are you ready to get the party started? We're going to begin with the doctoral degrees. We recognize individually the recipients of the doctoral degrees awarded by the university. I invite you to notice the various disciplines represented as the degrees recipients are introduced. You will receive a remarkable insight into the diversity and breadth of the intellectual and creative mission carried forth at the University of Michigan. By the authority of the state of Michigan, vested in the regents of this university, and by them delegated to me, we shall now confer the degrees which have been recommended by the faculties. Michael J. Solomon, Dean of the Horace H. Rackham School of Graduate Studies and Vice Provost for Academic Affairs, Graduate Studies, will preside. Let's hear it for Dean Solomon.
Will the candidates for the doctoral degrees of the Horace H. Rackham School of Graduate Studies please rise if they are able and remain standing as their degrees are called? The degrees are Doctor of Musical Arts and Doctor of Philosophy. Mr. President, I have the honor on behalf of the Executive Board of the Horace H. Rackham School of Graduate Studies to present these candidates to you and to recommend them for the degrees named.
I confer upon each of you the degree for which you have been nominated, admitting you to its rights, honors, and privileges, and charging you with its responsibilities. In consideration of those seated behind you, you may return to your seats until you are conducted to the platform where you will be introduced and greeted.
These doctoral degrees are the highest awarded by the university. We will now be hooding these doctoral degree recipients, recognizing them individually. The ritual of receiving the doctoral hood is part of a historical tradition that began with the earliest foundations of European universities. Hooding has been a central feature of commencement exercises since the 12th century. When popes, kings, or emperors authorized the conferral of the doctoral hood, they were certifying the recipients were master teachers who had earned us ubique docenti, the right to teach anywhere. Each doctoral graduate has undertaken original scholarship in the completion of a dissertation, guided by a faculty member who chaired the student's dissertation committee. Many of these dissertation chairs are with us today and will personally hood their students, welcoming them in to the community of scholars. Before their names are called, each is draped with a hood which completes their doctoral academic regalia. The colors on the hoods identify first the university attended and second the academic field studied. The university's colors, maize and azure blue, can be seen on the lining of the hoods the doctoral candidates wear today. The border color, the field of study, can be identified in the list of academic colors in the program. Thank you.
Kara Abakunas, doctoral program in biomedical engineering. Lee Arsenault, doctoral program in higher education. Matthew Bacco, doctoral program in social work and sociology. Isaiah Barth, doctoral program in chemical engineering. This way. Caleb Belth, doctoral program in computer science and engineering. Rumpa Bhattacharya, doctoral program in biostatistics. Minja B, doctoral program in robotics. Austin Brenner, doctoral program in aerospace engineering. Sarah Burris Heide, doctoral program in medicinal chemistry. Olive Escalicas Burata, doctoral program in chemical biology. Noah Burrell, doctoral program in computer science and engineering. Catherine Campbell, doctoral program in history of art. Dima Chard, doctoral program in epidemiological science. Judy Chen, doctoral program in immunology. Minje Choi, doctoral program in information. Carolina Heyong Chong, doctoral program in biomedical engineering. Kevin Craven, doctoral program in philosophy. Benjamin Sear, doctoral program in computer science and engineering. Lauren Cerniak, doctoral program in industrial and operations engineering. Sierra Davis, doctoral program in biomedical engineering. Boron Demir, doctoral program in electrical and computer engineering. Changyong Dong, doctoral program in mechanical engineering. James Dennison, doctoral program in history of art. Nikhil Divakur, doctoral program in robotics. Sarah Doby, doctoral program in regional planning. Daniel Doyle, doctoral program in neuroscience. Kelly Elizabeth Duggan, mechanical engineering. Chinwe Elizabeth Eze, doctoral program in clinical pharmacology translational sciences. Nazarun Farjan, doctoral program in mechanical engineering. Qi Gao, physics. Alyssa Garcia, doctoral program in physics. Alexander Ginsberg, doctoral program in applied and interdisciplinary mathematics. Vishwas Goel, doctoral program in materials science and engineering. Sean Greer, doctoral program in music education. Wanqi He, doctoral program in environmental engineering. Mengjun Ho, doctoral program in civil engineering. Guanglong Huang, program in materials science and engineering. Amanda Guadalupe Iglesias, doctoral program in neuroscience. Min Sik Cho, doctoral program in chemistry. Andrea Suzanne Kuliasha Jones, doctoral program in biomedical engineering. Fahad Komran, doctoral program in computer science and engineering. Matt Kubelitz, doctoral program in nuclear engineering. Florence Johnson, doctoral program in nursing. Hee-Jin Kim, doctoral program in mechanical engineering. Kathleen Kish, doctoral program in biomedical engineering. Joe Claver, doctoral program in political science. Brenna Larson, doctoral program in history of art. Julia Leneff, doctoral program in material science and engineering. Kristen Lursel, doctoral program in cancer biology. Shannon Loftus, doctoral program in immunology. Rachel Lopez Schenk, doctoral program in molecular and integrative physiology. Alcides Lorenzo Gonzalez, doctoral program in neuroscience. Kevin Lachlan, doctoral program in computer science and engineering. Wang Ling Lu, doctoral program in material science and engineering. Rachel Marie Lucero, doctoral program in chemical biology. Xiaoyin Ma, doctoral program in chemical engineering. Sahiti Marella, doctoral program in molecular and cellular pathology. Thomas Marks, doctoral program in aerospace engineering. Reagan Martin, doctoral program in history of art. Kishwar Mashuk, doctoral program in electrical and computer engineering. Sean McCarty, doctoral program in medicinal chemistry. Qinghui Meng, doctoral program in mechanical engineering. Loitha Morales Rodriguez, doctoral program in pharmacology. Laura Murphy, doctoral program in design science. Nafisa Nuzhut, doctoral program in cell and developmental biology. Karanveer Singh Punasur, doctoral program in industrial and operations engineering. Arganik Pant, doctoral program in applied physics. Megan Procario, doctoral program in microbiology and immunology. Lavelle Ridley, doctoral program in English and Women's and Gender Studies. Julie Reland, doctoral program in macromolecular science and engineering. Luis Rivera Perez, doctoral program in neuroscience. Michal Russo, doctoral program in environment and sustainability. Lauren Reistack, doctoral program in neuroscience. Grace Burleson Setawan, doctoral program in design science. Juan J. Rodriguez Barrera, doctoral program in American culture. Catherine Smith, doctoral program in bioinformatics. Kelly Sobakul, doctoral program in bioinformatics. Leanne Su, doctoral program in aerospace engineering. Shen Hao Su, doctoral program in mechanical engineering. Carson Zotz, doctoral program in chemistry. Morteza Tavakoli Taba, doctoral program in electrical and computer engineering. Kaylee Thompson, doctoral program in film, television, and media. Mingyan Chen, doctoral program in environmental engineering. Lom Tran, doctoral program in biostatistics. Chamaka Ukachukwa, doctoral program in pharmacology. Ranjita Upala, doctoral program in immunology. Tingshuan Wu, doctoral program in nuclear engineering and radiological science. Natalie Warsinger Pepe, doctoral program in molecular and integrative physiology. Xingmin Wang, doctoral program in civil engineering. Qintao Yan, doctoral program in civil engineering. Tony Zhang, doctoral program in electrical and computer engineering. Young Sup Yoon, doctoral program in mechanical engineering. Samuel David Young, doctoral program in chemical engineering.
We shall now publicly recognize candidates for the bachelor's, master's, and other degrees in course in the schools and colleges of the university. The graduating classes will be presented by the respective deans or dean's representatives in the order of founding of the schools and colleges. Dean Ann Curzan will begin by presenting the candidates from the College of Literature, Science, and the Arts. Let's hear it for that school.
Will the candidates for the degrees offered by the faculty of the College of Literature, Science, and the Arts please rise if you are able?
Wow.
Mr. President, on behalf of the faculty of the College of Literature, Science, and the Arts, I present the candidates.
On behalf of the Board of Regents of the great state of Michigan and the University of Michigan, congratulations on your graduation. Let's hear it for them. Please be seated. Professor Gil Omen, the University of Michigan Medical School.
Will candidates for degrees offered by the medical school please rise? Mr. President, I'm proud to present a few candidates from the medical school for their degrees.
Thank you. On behalf of the Board of Regents of the University of Michigan, Congratulations on your graduation, medical school graduates. Dean Jacques Noor, School of Dentistry.
Will the candidates for the degree offered by the faculty of the School of Dentistry please rise if you are able?
On behalf of the Board of Regents of the University of Michigan, congratulations on your graduation. Let's hear it for them.
Thank you.
Dean Vicki Ellengrod, the College of Pharmacy.
Will the candidates for the degrees offered by the faculty of the College of Pharmacy please rise if you are able? Mr. President, on behalf of the faculty of the College of Pharmacy, I present the candidates.
On behalf of the Board of Regents of the University of Michigan, congratulations on your graduation. Let's hear it for them. Dean Celeste Watkin Hayes, the Gerald R. Ford School of Public Policy.
Will the candidates for the degrees offered by the faculty of the Gerald R. Ford School of Public Policy please rise? Mr. President, on behalf of the faculty of the Gerald R. Ford School of Public Policy, I present the candidates.
On behalf of the Board of Regents of the University of Michigan, congratulations on your graduation. Dean Steve Cessio of the College of Engineering.
Will the candidates for the degrees offered by the faculty of the College of Engineering please rise? Mr. President, on behalf of the faculty of the College of Engineering, I present the candidates.
On behalf of the Board of Regents of the University of Michigan, congratulations on your graduation. Let's hear it for them. Professor Lisa Latuca of the Marsal Family School of Education.
Will the candidates for the degrees offered by the faculty of the Marsal Family School of Education please rise? Mr. President, on behalf of the faculty of the Marsal Family School of Education, I present the candidates.
On behalf of the Board of Regents of the University of Michigan, congratulations on your graduation. Let's hear it for them. Associate Dean Sriram of the Stephen M. Ross School of Business.
Will the candidates for the degrees offered by the faculty of the Ross School of Business please rise? Mr. President, on behalf of the faculty of the Stephen M. Ross School of Business, I present the candidates.
On behalf of the Board of Regents of the University of Michigan, congratulations on your graduation. Let's hear it for them. Dean Jonathan Overpeck, the School for Environment and Sustainability.
Will the candidates for the degrees offered by the faculty of the School for Environment and Sustainability please rise if you're able? All right. Mr. President, on behalf of the faculty of the School for Environment and Sustainability, I present the candidates.
On behalf of the Board of Regents of the University of Michigan, congratulations on your graduation. Let's hear it for them. Dean David Gear of the School of Music, Theater, and Dance.
Will the candidates for the degrees offered by the faculty of the School of Music, Theater, and Dance please rise if you are able? Mr. President, on behalf of the faculty of the School of Music, Theater, and Dance, I present the candidates.
On behalf of the Board of Regents of the University of Michigan, congratulations on your graduation. Let's hear it for them. Dean Jonathan Massey of the A. Alfred Taubman College of Architecture and Urban Planning.
That's right. Will the candidates for the degrees offered by the faculty of the Taubman College of Architecture and Urban Planning please rise if you are able? All right. Mr. President, on behalf of the Taubman College faculty, I present our degree candidates.
On behalf of the Board of Regents of the University of Michigan, congratulations on your graduation. Let's hear it for them. Professor Jody Laurie of the School of Nursing.
Will the candidates for the degree offered by the faculty of the School of Nursing please rise if you are able? Mr. President, on behalf of the faculty of the School of Nursing, I present the candidates.
On behalf of the Board of Regents of the University of Michigan, congratulations on your graduation. Let's hear it for them. Dean F. Du Bois Bowman of the School of Public Health.
Will the candidates for the degrees offered by the faculty of the School of Public Health please rise? Mr. President, on behalf of the faculty of the School of Public Health, I present the candidates.
On behalf of the Board of Regents of the University of Michigan, congratulations on your graduation. Let's hear it for them. Associate Dean Katie Richard Schuster of the School of Social Work.
Will the candidates for the degree offered by the faculty of the School of Social Work please rise if you are able? Mr. President, on behalf of the faculty of the School of Social Work, I present the candidates.
On behalf of the Regents of the University of Michigan, congratulations on your graduation. Let's hear it for them. Elizabeth Yackel of the School of Information.
Will the candidates for the degrees offered by the faculty of the School of Information please rise if you are able? Mr. President, on behalf of the faculty of the School of Information, I present the candidates.
On behalf of the Board of Regents of the University of Michigan, congratulations on your graduation. Let's hear it for them. Dean Carlos Francisco Jackson of the Penny W. Stamps School of Art and Design.
Will the candidates for the degrees offered by the faculty of the Penny W. Stamps School of Art and Design please rise, if you are able? Mr. President, on behalf of the faculty of the Penny W. Stamps School of Art and Design, I present the candidates.
On behalf of the Board of Regents of the University of Michigan, congratulations on your graduation. Let's hear it for them. Dean Lori Ploutz Snyder of the School of Kinesiology.
Will the candidates for the degrees offered by the faculty of the School of Kinesiology please rise? Mr. President, on behalf of the faculty of the School of Kinesiology, I present the candidates.
On behalf of the Board of Regents of the University of Michigan, congratulations on your graduation. Let's hear it for them. It is now our great pleasure to invite the graduates and candidates to come forward to be recognized. all the graduates and candidates presented today, please rise. Will the regents, deans, executive officers, and other platform party members and all faculty here please rise? Will all of the family members and invited guests who share in the recognition of these candidates presented today please rise if you are able? It is an honor and privilege to welcome our graduates to this community of scholars. We look forward to benefiting from your contributions that your education has prepared you to make in our world. To signify your graduation, you may now move your tassel to the left. Everybody, let's give them a round of applause. Congratulations. Please be seated. Tom Hawkins.
Way to go, graduates. My name is Tom Hawkins, and I am a member of the Board of Directors of the Alumni Association of the University of Michigan. As an alum of Michigan, I can say that a degree from this great university is an honor that stays with you for the rest of your life. On behalf of the Alumni Association, my fellow board members, our president and CEO, and the roughly 670,000 alums across the world, congratulations and welcome. We are pleased to count you now among the ranks of our great network of Michigan graduates. In a few short moments, you're going to toss your caps upward and then head to places all over the world to begin your careers in fields of business and academia. But no matter where you go or what you do, you will never be far from the University of Michigan. You will never be far because you are now part of something greater than yourselves. You are part of the most well-respected network of alums in the world. The bond we share as alums is rivaled by no other university. Whenever you meet a future alum in work or play, you will feel the kindred spirit, and there will be an utterance of, "Go Blue." With your Block M shirts, hats, and Michigan gear, you will hear people say, "Go Blue," wherever life takes you around the world. In your careers, people will recognize you as being someone who is smart, determined, well-rounded, and a leader because you are a graduate of the University of Michigan. So congratulations, class of 2023. As you sit here today, ready to explore the world around you and do great things in the future, remember this truth. The University of Michigan will always be your home, and the Alumni Association will be here to support you in your career and life at all times. Being a graduate of the University of Michigan is something to be wildly proud of, and it is an honor and responsibility for you for the rest of your life. So forever and always, go Blue.
Thank you for joining us today to celebrate the achievement of our graduates. Thank you, families and friends, for your support. And thank you to our newest alumni for elevating our institution while you were here and carrying the University of Michigan spirit into the world. To conclude today's ceremony, please join in singing The Victors, accompanied by the commencement band. Afterwards, please remain at your seats until the recessional march of the platform party is complete. Wolverines, it's time to head out into the world. Wherever you go, we will be cheering you on. Wherever you go, you will have a home here. And above all, wherever you go, go Blue.
Congratulations on your graduation. Thank you for attending today, and go Blue!
Sing to the colors that float in the light, hurrah for the yellow and blue. conquering heroes. Hail, hail to Michigan, the leaders and best. Hail to the victors valiant. Hail to the conquering heroes. Hail, hail to Michigan, the champions of